The CEO of Deutsche Bank, Matt Zames, is said to have been targeted by recruiters in recent weeks to replace Deutsche Bank CEO John Cryan. Of course, Matt Zames, former COO of JPMorgan. Let's bring in Bloomberg's Peggy now and Erik Schatzker to put a little context, flesh on the bones here. Well, we wondered what the next job would be. Is it going to be the next CEO of Deutsche Bank?
Well, we don't know yet. All we know is that he's apparently is said to be one of the people that the bank has reached out to. But it does signal two things, that they're on the way to trying to replace Cryan potentially, and then also that they're casting a wide net even outside of Europe.
I mean, there's been other names in the mix here too. I guess the big question for me would be, one, Frankfurt. Would Matt Zames want to move to Frankfurt to take up this role?
It's also a fair question to ask whether Matt Zames is the right guy to run Deutsche Bank.
Yeah.
When Matt Zames left JPMorgan last summer, it was in part because the bank had concluded that he wasn't the right guy to succeed Jamie Dimon. Now, anyone you speak to at JPMorgan will tell you that Matt Zames is exceedingly bright and exceedingly talented. And Dimon himself and the rest of the board would have been quite happy to keep Matt Zames in senior management at JPMorgan for eternity if he wanted to. But CEO was not the right job for him. And it's not just because he's not Jamie Dimon. It's because they determined that he doesn't possess the right mix of skills to run an organization of JPMorgan's size. Now, Deutsche Bank isn't as big as JPMorgan, but it ain't a hedge fund either.
It also may not have as many choices as JPMorgan had as well. I mean, Deutsche Bank has really been struggling for a while. So, you know, someone may not want to take on that type of a turnaround task.
So he's been in the industry for 25 years, 13 years at JPMorgan. He sort of looked after the bank in many ways, the risk management of the firm in light of the whale scandal.
In many respects, he would be a great choice because he knows so much about fixed income and because he has been involved in tricky trading cleanup operations before.
So why do we think he's the wrong choice then? Well, or why might he be the wrong choice?
You have to be a CEO of a bank has to, again, possess certain qualities. Leadership is one of them. You have to be able to interact with people, whether it's on the board level or at the very bottom of the ladder in the branches. Dimon has demonstrated an ability, I think everyone would agree, to do all of that. And various CEOs at other banks, we could talk about Mike Corbett, for example, at Citigroup, also possess some of those skills. They may not be, again, another Jamie Dimon, but Matt Zames, again, like I say, has been described as very intelligent, very capable, but doesn't have the same EQ, for example, as Jamie Dimon does. And you've got to have a fair amount of that to be able to run a bank, whether it's as large as JPMorgan or as large as Deutsche Bank. Much less necessary if you're in a smaller organization, you're dealing with a smaller group of stakeholders, whether they be limited partners at a hedge fund, for example, or you're running some kind of a startup operation. It's very different. And my sense of things, and I don't have a personal relationship with Matt Zames, is that he would be much better caught out for that kind of a job than he would be being the chief executive of a firm of Deutsche Bank's size and complexity, for that matter.
I'm just looking at some of the comments that he made when he left JPMorgan. I want to get back to running the railroad, running my business. So it's just a natural point. My business versus
well, he wants to run something. He wanted to run something. There's no question about that, and that was one of the reasons he left the bank.
But Deutsche Bank is a beast. Let's be clear.
What do we know about anyone else, though, who might be in the running here?
Well, I think it's interesting that this is coming off on the heels, not of necessarily of someone who's running or in the running with recruiters, but also we only just recently learned that Thain is in the mix to essentially join the supervisory board, reportedly as soon as May. And that's another American banker. It will be interesting to see if he has some sort of a say in what type of personality and leader he wants.
I mean, there's all sorts of names being thrown out here as well. I mean, Bill Winters, of course, was another one. Standard Chartered as a possible route here. How much credibility do we think we can give to the idea that John Cryan's ready to give up here, or do you think he doesn't get a choice? I mean, clearly we've seen tensions. We've had reported tensions at the board level.
I mean, and stories like this.
The chairman also here.
Well, people have said that if Cryan goes, Ackliner should go too, right? Ackliner owns it just as much as John Cryan does. maybe even more so. This is one of the things that we keep coming back to, in which people attacked Wells Fargo's board over. Why isn't there more accountability in the boardroom? Right? It's the directors who choose the CEO. The CEO may end up being a failure, and John Cryan was certainly handed a very difficult hand of cards to play. But they share responsibility. They put him in the job.
Yes.
All right. Bloomberg's Erik Schatzker and Peggy Collins, thank you guys so much.